The Hoppicator is a pattern adopted from Mikey Wier in California and made better with Larva Lace products. Hope you like it. We love tying our hoppers on streamer hooks. This is a Daichii 2220. I like to tie them in sizes 10 to 16, depending on the size of your hoppers in your area. Cream thread, 140 denier. Make sure it's a good strong thread so you can really latch down the foam on top of the hook. Get a base of thread started on the hook shank and add a layer of super glue for the secret touch to the Hoppicator, which are the mono loops that allow a direct line-to-line connection with your leader. That makes this pattern so versatile. Allows you to move it on your leader and fish a terrestrial fly while you're fishing nymphs, and that's one thing I've been looking for a long time. 20-pound monofilament. Attach the strand of monofilament to one side of the hook, keep it on top of the hook shank, and then fold one side over on the back end to create a little loop, about a 1/8 inch loop. Trim it at the halfway point and tie it down. Do the same on the front side. Fold over the loop and trim the excess at the halfway point. Tie it down to where the thread completely covers your monofilament on the hook. You can tie these patterns in any color. I'm going to use yellow this time using Larva Lace foam sheets. I'm going to trim about a 6-inch piece of foam that is as wide as the gape of my hook, and I'm just going to test my streamer hook to make sure it's correct length. This becomes easier if you have the pre-cut Larva Lace foam sheets that are already the perfect size in the large version. So you can use those, or you can just use a foam sheet. Either work just fine. This is closed cell foam, so it's very buoyant, it's very durable and sturdy. I'm going to fold the back end to create a little butt of that bug that's going to hang over the back side, over the top of the back side loop. And I'm going to attach that back end down with 9 or 10 really strong thread wraps before adding some dubbing to that tie-in point. We're using Firestar dubbing in light yellow to match the body. Dub a noodle and wrap it around the original tie-in point and then under that second piece of foam. Then you can continue wrapping that dubbing body on the hook shank all the way up to behind the eye and then all the way back to the original tie-in point. Once you finish dubbing the body, we're going to bring our thread forward again by attaching that bottom piece of foam with segmented wraps. And each segment I'm going to put 2, 3, 4 really strong thread wraps to make sure it's nice and solid on the hook, and orient it with your fingers to make sure it sits on top as well. Go all the way up to behind the eye before folding that top piece of foam over and measuring it, cutting that tip to be equal with the hook eye. And then we can fold the remaining foam over the top to create the full bug's body. Bring a few thread wraps over the top and really cinch that down to create a bulging grasshopper head at the front of that fly. Again, use 9 or 10 really strong thread wraps to secure that into place. Trim the wing to be equal length as the body. Just pull it down and measure it with the butt and give it a trim. All good grasshopper patterns have a good set of legs. I'm using super floss. Tie an overhand knot in 2 pieces of super floss and tie them in on either side of your hopper pattern. Just make sure they're splayed out a bit on the front and the back side. You can trim your front legs to be shorter than the long back legs. You can use any color of super floss that you want. I think white is a really good attractor color. You can use tan or brown or black depending upon the color of your bug and what you want it to match. After you get your legs tied in, we're going to tie in our indicator post, which is going to be Shimmer. And I tie my Hoppicators with 2 different colors, either black and white or pink and white, just to give some contrast and 2 different color patterns to see on the water. Sometimes that helps with glare, and sometimes you can see one color better than the other. So I always like to tie my Hoppicators with 2 different colors, and not only going to help it float, but it's going to just help with visibility, especially when fishing rougher water. When you tie those in, just capture it at the midpoint and then fold it rearward and put a couple thread wraps in front, and do the same with the other material right in front of it. Just make sure that you're minding the super floss legs and that you're not capturing them down and wrapping them rearward. Make sure you're staying in between those super floss legs to keep them nice and splayed out. After you get your post tied in, give them a trim. I like to trim mine about half the height of the wing material, and it always looks really great with the two-tone colors. Cover up those exposed thread wraps with some more light Yellow Firestar dubbing. Again, making sure that you are splitting the super floss legs to continue to splay them out. And then to finish with a whip finish or a half hitch, I like to invert my fly and just tuck that half hitch right around the hook eye to make it secure. And then I always add a little bit of head cement or epoxy to solidify it. The next step, I'm gonna bar my legs. Black and white combination I think is a killer. So just stretch your leg out and add Sharpie marks sporadically across the leg pattern. It makes it look really buggy. And then finally we can split our wing on top just by cutting it in half and splaying it out. And that's the finished Hoppicator. The genius in this pattern that Mikey Wier figured out was the loop-to-loop connection that allows you to attach this to your leader at the front side of the fly with the front mono loop, and then run the tag end of your tippet through that back loop to make sure this hopper rides nicely on the water, but also holds your nymphs where you want them to be held. You can just adjust your hopper pattern as you need to fish different holes and still have the opportunity to catch fish on that hopper. I hope you get some in your box, and I hope they help you catch some fish. These are all the Larva Lace materials you'll need to tie the Hoppicator. Go to your nearest fly shop and ask for Larva Lace by name. You can also go to hagensfish.com or email Lori to get the best high-quality synthetics on the market, made in Mitchell, South Dakota, right here in the United States. Show off your Hoppicators at the Fly Tying University Facebook page. It's a growing community for all fly tyers. Larva Lace is a proud partner of the Fish Stories Archive at fishstories.org. Thanks for being a part of the Larva Lace community, for tying with Larva Lace products. Tight lines and well-tied flies.